for the invocation.
God in heaven, we come to you tonight, and I'm so grateful for you being a God who is good and great. Thank you for our country that we live in. Thank you for this time of year that we celebrate Christ coming to be born for us. We thank you for our elected officials, our public servants, for our military. We pray your blessing and protection upon them tonight. We pray that you would help our city council and mayor, our elected officials and department heads to have wisdom, which would help us as a city to be a city where it's a great place to live and work and worship and play. Direct for your good and your glory. In Christ's name, amen.
Thank you. Mike, if you'll take the roll call, please.
Councilman Marcos. Present. Councilman McLeod.
Here.
Councilman Schlack.
Present.
Councilman Valerius.
Here.
Councilman Lloyd.
Here.
Pro Tem Lally.
Here.
And Mayor McLeod.
Here.
We have a quorum, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
Motion, Mayor.
Motion by Mr. Schlack, second by Mr. Lally. Any corrections, changes? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, that is carried. May I have a motion to approve the minutes from the meeting of November 23rd?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Valerius, second by Mr. Marcos. Any corrections? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, that is carried. And now we have a swearing in of a new hire, police officer.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Like to have it these days again. So when I heard that Mr. Dave Belknap, who moved to Alpena and was a police officer out there, was thinking about coming out this way, actually drove out there and tried to do some recruiting. It was almost like getting Aiden Hutchinson for us here. Dave has started off at Wayne County Sheriff, went to Lincoln Park Police, and then for the last year was in Alpena. Wanted to move back to this area to be close to his kids. So we were happy that he applied with us. He ended up being number one on our list. Civil Service approved for him to be hired. Last thing Councilman Dennis Marcos did on the council. And so altogether, he's got 17 and a half years of law enforcement experience. Every kind of certification you can imagine, being a field training officer and a trained in rifles and tasers and lasers and drunk driving. He was on our Downriver SWAT team. So we're getting a good pick here. So yeah, we're very excited to have him here. He's here with his father, Eric, who he's gonna pin on his badge for him, which I think is pretty cool. So when the clerk's ready.
All right, I'm not gonna make you repeat it, anything, I'm not gonna make the commissioners do it either. I'll read it, and then at the end, you say, I do, I swear, or I affirm, whatever you feel most comfortable with. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that you'll support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Michigan, and that you will endeavor to secure and maintain an honest and efficient administration of the affairs of the city of Allen Park, free from partisan distinction or control, and that you will perform the duties of full-time police officer to the best of your abilities, so help you God?
I swear.
Oh, congratulations.
He has a tourniquet if you need to use it, so.
Yeah. Good luck with that. There it goes. Got it. You want me to help you? Yeah.
He said he wouldn't be a police officer. Just real, yep, go ahead. One of the things that we do is we honor prior service. So he's actually walking in with a life-saving award, unit citation, I think 4 meritorious and 3 prior service ribbons. These stripes represent 5 years each, so he's close to getting another stripe here in about 2.5 years. So again, it's really a valuable experience for us, so we're happy to have him, so welcome. Thank you.
And Officer Belknap, before you leave, We've kind of switched things up here. When we have a new swearing in, we allow council members to make comment, because all too often you have gone and there's all kinds of things that they want to say. So we have felt that after you've been sworn in, we will let them do that. So start.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Share a little history with you. I've been on place on Grand Lake for 50 years.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Pretty familiar.
I was on Long Lake,
On Long Lake.
yeah,
Won't be doing as much driving around here, I'm not sure.
right.
So, but welcome, glad to have you, really, really.
Thank
glad
you.
to have you. Thanks.
Thank you.
I just want to say thank you for joining Allen Park, and just stay positive and keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming back to Allen Park and joining our fair department, and I'm sure you're gonna wear the badge of pride as you have in all your other commitments, and I look forward to hearing more great things for your service to our city.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I also want to thank you for coming back in Allen Park. We do need good police officers, and I'm glad to see you on board. Hope you be safe and take care of business in Allen Park.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Appreciate having you. I know what you do is not easy. Appreciate being able to sleep easy at night, knowing that you and your fellow officers are out there protecting us. So thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thanks.
I could say it 10 more times too. Wealth of experience, and Allen Park is a safer city today because of your decision to come back to the city. So I appreciate
Thanks.
everything. And just stay safe. God bless.
And I'll just close by saying I hope you understand how much you are appreciated and how much we are happy to have you there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right now, we'll move on to some organizational business after the family exits. Our first will be, would like a motion to appoint the 2022 Board of Review members that were presented to us by our Deputy Assessor, Christine Johns. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Lally,
Support.
supported by Mr. Blevins. Any questions, comments? Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Now we have the commission appointments, and we are going to swear in all those who are present. What I would like you to do is, if you are here, when I call your name, if you would please stand so we can check you off, and Mike knows who he needs to catch up with later on to swear in. May I have a motion for these recommendations, and then I will call off the list. Motion by Mr. Marcos, second by Mr. Black. Any questions or comments? Okay, I will go through the list. Beautification Commission, reappointing Maureen Stauder. Brownfield Redevelopment, reappointing Janet Jordan. Downtown Development Authority, appointing Paul Carnarvon and Frank Sizowski. Festivities Commission, appointing Lauren Riviera Belak. Appointing Maria Lally. Reappointing Isabella Barbosa Rios. Housing Commission, appointing Julie Hoover. Reappointing Peter Tachman. For the Local Officers Compensation Board, reappointing Frank Shizovsky. We know is here. Reappointing Ann Wissusek. Can finally put some faces to the names. Parks and Recreation Commission. These are the following reappointments: Bruce Antioch, Tina Gavarecki, Richard Lindau. To the Planning Commission, appointing Luke Brithany, reappointing Dennis Rant. To the Retirement System Board of Trustees, appointing Jane Spilassi. Appointing Maureen Stauder. To To the Zoning Board of Appeals, appointing Mark Gavarecki. Reappointing Mark Courtwright. Reappointing Philippa Matekas. And reappointing Dennis Rant, who is still here. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? You will all come forward for your swearing in with Mr. Mizzi.
I don't want to squeeze people in. This won't be very ceremonial thanks to COVID. But if you just want to get enough apart and then raise your right hand, I'm so sorry.
You gotta take a picture of this.
Repeat it after me. But what I'm gonna do is, this is gonna prevent you to have to make a special trip into my office. I'm gonna swear you in now, and then we'll be sending you one of these certificates. I'll have it pre-signed by me, you just have to sign it and you keep it. That's what you get for your service. And it's colored ink and you will get a gold seal. Thank you, really, the commissioners are the most unsung heroes to a community, so. All right, I'm gonna read it aloud, and then at the end, I just ask that you say, I swear, I do, or I affirm, whatever you feel most comfortable with, okay? Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that you support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Michigan, and that you will endeavor to secure and maintain an honest and efficient administration of the affairs of the city of Allen Park, free from partisan distinction or control, and that you will perform the duties respective of your board and commission to the best of your ability, so help you God?
I do.
I do. All right, congratulations.
I would just like to add a further comment and tell you all how much I personally appreciate you volunteering to step up and serve on these commissions. For many of you, it takes a lot of your additional time. Many of you are working, own your own businesses. And I think Mike said it very well. These commissions were created for a reason, and that is to help the city because we could not do this all by ourselves. And so I'm looking for people who are willing to serve and who bring something to the table. And I thank you very much, and I know that all of my fellow council members feel the same. Thank you again. Thank you. Okay, move on to study session schedule. We have a motion to approve the 2022 council study session schedule.
Motion, Mayor.
Second.
Mr. Lally, second by Mr. Valerius. Any questions, comments? Thank you. And all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Now we get the city administrator operational report.
This is the biggest crowd I've been able to speak in front of in a long, long time. They didn't leave. Well, they're not yet, at least, right? I picked out a tie this morning. I was trying to go with something a little bit festive. I went with snowmen in honor of Councilman Valerius, and I hope this is the only time we see snowmen. I'm good with the whole season being just on our tie. So, good evening, Mayor and Council. Very good to see everyone, and good to see everyone in the audience as well. Just a few updates. The Moran Avenue Bridge over the Sexton Kilfoyle Drain, we need the drum and the trumpets to go off. It's finally open. They opened that last week, and it's nice to have that finally be able to access the south part of the city easily instead of having to drive all the way around. So finally open, and Wayne County is now done with that project. Al's Asphalt has finished up on the Park Street paving over off of Pleasant Crescent, Rose, I don't know what else is over there too. I said that Pleasant last time. I was just creating a street, and we're gonna put it in for like $51 and see if we can get a couple dollars extra from the state. But that project is all complete. Savone Cement did do the concrete work, and that is now just being we're going through the curing time, and they'll be able to open all that up. But finally, a nice area done, no dust hopefully in the future for those residents. And again, Millward Park is completed as well. So a nice complete project in that area. We have a few awards that we were able to get last week at the Downriver branch of the American Public Works Luncheon. The city of Allen Park was awarded the American Public Works Association Downriver Branch 2020 Project of the Year for Robinson Park and Meyer Avenue Pavement and Water Main Replacement Project. So that is the first one. And Tom is going to take these and display them in the conference room at the DPS facility. They'll be posted over there. I believe these might be for the contractors, the ones I have here. The second one we were awarded for was the 2021 Project of the Year for Park and Hanford Avenue Pavement Replacement Project. So that is the concrete that we did over on Park Avenue and Hanford between Allen Road and Lawrence, Park Avenue between Regina and Angelique. And then finally, the last one was the 2021 Project of the Year for the Hanford and Shenandoah Avenue Water Main Replacement Project. This was a water main on the Hanford project site as well, again from Allen Road to Lawrence, and then Shenandoah across the street from Rogers Elementary School in the Kennedy sub. So very nice to be honored and recognized by our peers in that field of industry, and we'll get those posted at the DPS facility in the conference room. Felt that was probably a good place for me. We have a lot of contractor meetings in there, and the contractors can see that we do take pride in the projects that they're participating with us in, and be able to let them know that we're looking forward to them doing good work that we can be also recognized for. As I mentioned, the project of the year, and we have a nice audience here tonight. I want to mention that the projects for the 2022 construction season for the reconstruction of Park Avenue from Angelique to Champaign, that it will finish off that section of Park Avenue. We'll be able to have concrete from, we go from Regina south all the way to Moore Avenue. And then the second street that we're working on will be Rosedale between between Wick and Moore. It's a pretty rough stretch of roadway there as well. So those two are what we're looking at. We may add a third street in. We just need to make sure we have enough financing first before we go and make a commitment on that. The latest edition of the Allen Park Today magazine should have been hitting everybody's mailbox. If it hasn't, it'll be there in a couple days. Once again, I want to thank the department heads for the work that they put into getting everything ready article-wise. As soon as, here it is, the second week of December, we'll probably get another 2 or 3 week break, and I'll be on the horn with all the department heads, asking them to get ready for the next edition, and that'll start up, and that'll be the March edition. We're able to recognize the Festivities Commission and the efforts that they did. It was my slight that we did not recognize them in the September edition, so I do apologize to the commission. Their work does not go unnoticed, and we want to make sure that we did recognize the efforts. That is a lot of work that goes into putting that the street fair together, so we do appreciate that. And just some nice articles, a nice article on Jim Perry and his service to the community, as he, I believe, will be retiring from the DCC, and it's always nice to see the schools. I did have one request that we're going to get over to Mark Fisher, who's the publisher, and that's something for Southgate schools. And I'd still really like to see Mel Knapp schools get involved, and also maybe Cabrini and Inner City as well. But I think having Allen Park schools there has really been a nice addition to the magazine in general. Just a reminder for the mayor and council that the audit presentation by Plant Moran will be next Tuesday, the 21st of December, 5:15 start in the conference room as opposed to the normal 5:30 start. And then City Hall will be closed for Christmas holiday Thursday and Friday, December 23rd and 24th. And then for the New Year's holiday, December 30th and the 31st as well of that. I do have one more award that I need to make that we received. This was a community service award, and it's presented to the Allen Park Citizen Civic Fund. This was presented by M Parks. They were supposed to have a formal presentation up in Lansing, but that got postponed with everything going on with COVID. So they sent us the plaque, and I want to take some time. I don't know if Pat Hawkins wants to come up or not, but to present this to Kurt Mazog from the Allen Park Citizen Civic Fund, and for all the effort that they do for the community. And it's nice to be recognized by one of the state agency or state organizations. So we appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Go ahead.
You want to mention how much they've done for us?
Go ahead.
The Allen Park Citizens Civic Fund has really been a right hand in helping us fund things that have not been able to be funded by the general fund budget. And at a time when we needed a new roof at the arena, it was a $400,000 grant that they obtained for us, strictly for that roof. And there's been thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars that have gone on almost every year that they have helped us with, and most of it having to do with safety and things that we had to have. And we'd be closing some of those parks probably without the help of the APCCF. So, Kurt, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Mayor?
We definitely appreciate the efforts of the APCCF. We definitely fill in some spots and gaps that we've had there. So usually at this point in time, I usually pick on one of our department heads to come up here and give some kind of update on something. It's usually Matt Baker. I usually pick on him. But I'm going to pick on Chief Chris Egan if I can this evening. And Chief Egan, have him give a quick update on a couple of projects that they've got going on in the PD.
It's not picking on Chris.
Well, I got picked on today. I got kind of, we had to buy some lunch for a few people. Apparently, you missed one meeting that was scheduled like 8 o'clock at night on the night of the Big Ten football championship game. I'm in Indianapolis, and I get called out. So, you know what? I didn't mind buying lunch because we have a great police department, so I don't mind buying lunch once in a while.
Nothing to do with that. I didn't get one either. That's okay. No, they appreciate it. Just real quick, we just had an awards banquet this weekend. We gave out 28 unit citations, 6 perfect attendance awards, 5 community service awards, 1 meritorious award, and 3 life-saving awards that I'm really proud of. We also had, those stemmed from 2 barricaded suicidal gunmen that we resolved, a road rage shooting incident where our officers located the vehicle, the casings, the people who luckily survived the shooting. Our detectives came in, they all worked as a team, and within an hour, we had the shooter in custody with the gun and admitted it. So it's amazing. And then Lieutenant Granica, 27 years on the force, out there filling in on some of our shortages, found a motorcyclist who was driving a stolen motorcycle, stopped him. He got off the bike and ran. He chased him. He came back to the motorcycle, tried to get on. He got him off him again. And we're hoping to give some awards at a later date because as he was fighting with this individual on the ground to try and get him secured, 3 passerby stopped and gave him assistance. So one of them happened to be a Dearborn firefighter. The other 2 were residents or people that just drove by. And then real quick, we had Officer of the Year awards given out. So we have different, they're just different jobs, working at night compared to day. So our day shift Officer of the Year was Officer Markovich, voted unanimously by his shift, his lieutenant sergeant, everybody on the shift. Our night is Officer Jared Knutson. And then we did something a little different this year. We gave a Sergeant of the Year, which was Sergeant Eli Fatilia. He, besides getting on our honor guard, he was on our uniform committee, our citation committee. He also is our coordinator for our comeback quick response team that's gotten over 40 people into treatment. And Aaron Witkoff from Families Against Narcotics says our program is one of the best in the states, and he's one of the best coordinators in the states because of our soft approach and trying to be compassionate. So, and then lastly, our Lieutenant of the Year is Officer Bill Mehall, who literally is in his last 6-7 months on the job, and he's spearheaded our computer switchover, our new camera system that's getting up and running finally, beginning of next year. Our accreditation manager, and the guy's phenomenal. We're really going to hurt losing him. And then the only last thing is we helped Mimi's Mission raise over 1,800 pajamas for people in foster care with the fire department. And they're going to have a telethon on 12/22, which is next Wednesday. And what we're doing to help them out is we're doing a deep cleaning of our jail. And then there's a few people that I think maybe could be put in that jail and is going to have to raise some bond to get out. If we make any arrests in that time, Brownstown Police is working with us to house our prisoners for that. So from 6 to 9 next Wednesday, hopefully you can open up your pocketbooks and try and raise some money for this group. They put 9/11 ready bags in all of our police cars and our fire trucks, which we've deployed. Deputy Chief Riley told me they just used that the other day with the weighted blankets for people with autism. So we got a lot going on, but we're doing good things, and we're really happy to have good officers and keep doing that. Hiring 4 in the last 4 months is awesome, so we're hoping to continue to do that. So that's all I have. Is that good? Thanks.
Thanks, Chief.
I gotta quickly say, Chief Egan and Chief Can both do a great job of getting those notes together really, really fast, because I try to catch them beforehand. But, and Lieutenant Mihal, I can't say enough about him. It just happens to be coincidentally, every time I meet with him, he has a Michigan State shirt on. I have no idea why he does that, but just coincidentally, so. Again, great police department and employees over there, and nice to see that they were honored for the deeds that they do on a daily basis for the residents of Allen Park. I think that's everything I have. Any questions, though?
Thank you.
Can I have a motion to accept and file the administrator's report?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Valerius,
Second.
second by Mr. Lally. Any questions? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're going to skip over the next portion of our agenda because do not see our commissioner here yet. I know he had a previous engagement, but he will be coming. So we will move on to the public comment section. And all we ask is if you care to come up and make comment, please limit it to 4 minutes. Give us your name and the street on which you live. We do not want to have your address. And basically, that's it. So anyone who wants to come up, please do so. Nobody wants to talk tonight. Well, then we'll close the public comment section, and we'll move on to the consent agenda. On tonight's consent agenda, we have purchasing actions of claims and accounts and a payroll report, and finance actions of the November 2021 finance overview, budget to actual report, balance sheet, and cash flow. May I have a motion?
Motion, Mayor.
Motion by Mr. Lloyd. Second by Mr. Marcos. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Resolutions. Resolution 1 is to adopt the 2022 Board of Review Poverty Guideline and Application. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Lally.
Second.
Second by Mr. Valerius. Questions or comments? Is there anyone here who could perhaps just briefly tell us what this is?
Mayor and Council, these are the, excuse me, these are the financial numbers that are used to determine if a person would qualify for the certain aspects of the hardship law based in the state of Michigan. This was, as I was reading through here and talking to Chris Johns, our deputy assessor, this was changed in the through a state, somebody was asking earlier, this is a state statute that does these, calculates these numbers out. And I'm not too sure if these numbers are based on a Wayne County calculation, though, that I'm not aware, but it was based on a Public Act 253 of 2020 and laid out how that's going to work for the 2021 tax season and beyond.
No one has any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Resolution 2. Resolution is that the mayor and council accept the offer from Al's Asphalt Paving to extend the unit prices from the Park Street Pavement Improvement Project to the Arno Avenue Pavement Improvement Project in 2022 with funds from account 203-479-801-205. May I have a motion?
Motion, Mayor.
Motion by Mr. Schleck, seconded by Mr. Lally. Any questions?
So on this one here, as you recall back in the springtime, we did bid out for the work, was awarded to, the low bidder was Al's Asphalt. That was for Park Street. When we did the initial review of the streets we wanted to look at, Tom had Park Street by Millward Park included, as the primary one, and then the secondary would be Arnold Avenue from Beatrice to Warwick. That was not included in that bid because we knew it was going to be in a second or a separate fiscal year. So right now, then, instead of going back out to bid and going through that whole process, Alice has offered to extend their unit prices again for the 2022 construction season, and we're just asking to go ahead and utilize that offer, and be able to do Arnold. The plan would be to do Arnold after July 1, because it'll be in the fiscal year 23. And the estimate for that project is just short of $315,000.
And I would imagine with the rise in prices that this would be a significant savings to the city.
Yeah, I tried to include it in the memo I put together for the mayor and council that, you're probably looking at about $3,000 to $4,000 in savings just based on bidding process, utilizing range, going through posting, advertising, pre-bid meetings, and so forth. At least $3,000 to $4,000 amongst the time for range plus the staff time as well. That would not include that. And then we would also save on the material and the labor because that was, he was just sending everything across as unit price.
Any further questions? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried. Resolution number 3 is to ratify the city administrator's action regarding the emergency need to rebuild the Cummins diesel engine on the 2008 Pierce paramedic fire engine in the amount of $28,264.85 with funding from capital outlay. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by
Second.
Mr. Blevins, second by Mr. Marcos. Questions?
If I may, I'm going to ask Chief Can to step up and just kind of give a brief overview of what this project is. The ratification was just made to make sure we could get the process of the repair started because there's always a lag time. And I think he's going to tell us, I think it's about 4 to 6 weeks. So we just want to try to get ahead of that curve as much as we could.
Thank you, Mr. Kibbe. Good evening, Mayor and Council. So the Pierce fire engine is a 2008 paramedic fire engine. It's multi-purpose. It not only can respond to home and structure fires and any other sort of fire, it's a paramedic engine, meaning it's got all of the equipment on it that an ambulance has except for the cot, and of course we're all paramedics, so it would be able to be used for that. It also has the jaws of life and is able to respond to vehicle crashes and so forth. We always keep 2 engines and a ladder as our apparatus supply. Recently, it had what's called a excessive crankcase blow-by. We had our garage and also our Pierce dealer recommend it be taken to Cummins Engines in Dearborn, Michigan. They did an extensive diagnosis and eliminated the other possibilities that could be causing it. It's the rings on the pistons that are allowing too much air by, and the engine has to be rebuilt. The engine, I should note, has been maintained very well over the years by both ourselves, our garage, and Halt Fire, our dealer. So it's not for a lack of maintenance. It does have 4,000 hours on it, over 4,000 hours, which is not excessive, but that's relatively high for a diesel engine, and it's not surprising to have it rebuilt. The reason, as Mr. Kibbe had stated, that we want to go ahead and get this started just as soon as possible because it's an emergency vehicle and they have to order some parts in order to have those parts available to start the job. So it currently sits out of service in our bay right now, but we are covered. We do have an engine and a ladder available, both of which I should say have pumps and of course mutual aid in the event that we need it. Questions for me? Excellent. Thank you very much.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Resolution number 4 is the resolution to authorize the signing of the settlement documents related to the national opioid settlement with Johnson & Johnson and Cardinal Health, McKesson, and Amerisource Bergen. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Lally,
Second.
second by Mr. Valerius.
Good evening. City Administrator, he put together a succinct memo as to what this is about. There's also a lot of other information that's been provided to you from our office But this is a proposed settlement with respect to opioids, and it's against two separate defendants. Now, normally, we don't want to settle something when we don't know the amount of the settlement. However, this isn't a liability to the city, it's no cost to the city, and it's found money. But in order to obtain that money, and we do not know the amount yet, we need to agree to settle with them for this. And as a result of that, we're asking that you would approve this, the settlement. And
Anyone have any questions?
Through the chair, it just, all the funds would have to go towards opioid-related expenses, or is this just like one thing?
you know what, that has not been established yet. Hopefully we'll get some money, and then you will have the problem of deciding,
Figuring out where we can do it.
figuring out how and where to spend it.
Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried, thank you. Now we move on to other business, which is the first and second reading of proposed ordinance number 12-2021. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Valerius.
Second.
Second by Mr. Lloyd. Questions or comments?
I have a question.
Yes.
This is about the parks, allowing dogs that go in the parks and so forth, correct? This, on the bottom it says, the ordinance does not repeal the section which requires animals to be under control of a responsible person. Under control, what does that mean?
It's a very good question. And when that ordinance was drafted, there was a debate as to, do we require them to have a leash? So it's generally understood that, the dog is not running at large. But I don't know if you're a dog enthusiast, but
I have two.
But, some dogs are great. They walk right next to us, and and then other dogs,
Well, that's why everybody's definition of control is different. If you're in a park and you've
Right.
got 10 dogs and 2 of them are not on leashes and they decide to bolt, that's what and it happens, so.
right.
So
And,
I'm wondering if the word leash would be inserted or not.
no, when that ordinance was drafted, there was, quite a discussion about that.
Okay.
With respect to that. But, to that point, normally when you do an ordinance, it just our reading, it just says we are repealing the prohibition of dogs, but we want the public to understand that doesn't mean you don't have to pick up the crap, and it doesn't mean your dog can run. Can I say crap in a council meeting?
just
Without violating decorum.
Twice.
Okay, but,
Go for a third?
I'm not gonna get into any puns on that, but, so that's the reason we reference those other ones, is we wanna make clear that the animals need to be under control and they need to be picked up after. Did I answer your question?
Pretty much.
All right.
That's, so when we looked at this particular ordinance, it was raised to me by a citizen who, in one of our animal park today, it says clearly, because of the ordinance, that we can't have any dogs in any of the parks. And that was actually something that kind of took me by surprise a little bit. Yeah.
Took me by surprise when I took my dog to the park.
Yeah, right, absolutely. Same for myself. And so we mainly were looking at the specific ordinance that was dealing with dogs in the park. But that is something that legal affairs could take up in the future, is we could, we don't necessarily have to do anything on it, but we could just kind of examine that language, and if you had any feedback or input into that, I'm sure that legal affairs would.
Well, I have 2 dogs. One, I put him in a park and I'd never see him again. The other one, I'd be stepping on him. So.
Yeah, I'm the same. My German Shepherd, he's a Velcro dog. Yeah, so.
That's kind of our feeling when we discussed that in legal affairs, to not make another crap joke.
Okay.
Any further questions? So, you do the reading.
The first reading by title only, I wanted to follow up to that, but I know I shouldn't, so. First
Oh, wait,
reading.
wait.
First,
I have to call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed?
thank
Yeah.
you. First reading by proposed ordinance number 12-2021, an ordinance of the City of Allen Park Code of Ordinances amending Chapter 28, Parks and Recreation by repealing Section 28-22, Animals, which pertains to the prohibition of animals in parks and recreation areas. This ordinance does not repeal Section 6-61, which requires animals to be under the control of a responsible person and requires the immediate pickup and disposal of animal waste. Second reading by title only of proposed ordinance 12-2021, an ordinance of the City of Allen Park Code of Ordinances, amending Chapter 28, Parks and Recreation by repealing Section 28-22, Animals, which pertains to the prohibition of animals in parks and recreation areas. This ordinance does not repeal Section 6-61, which requires animals to be under the control of a responsible person and requires the immediate pickup and disposal of animal waste. And now I'm asking for a motion to authorize the first and second reading by title only of proposed ordinance number 13-2021.
Motion by Mr. Lally.
Second.
Second by Mr. Valerius. Any questions or comments?
A question.
Yes.
Under receipt, or section 2307 with the receipt and expenditures, are they, when they get funds and stuff, it's just going into an escrow, or?
It's going to be given to the city, and it's going to be held by the city.
Okay.
And and the account will be designated. The reason, I know we use the term escrow, it's commonly used, but the term escrow has to do with, it's like you're holding money for a third party, so, but there will be a specific account to hold this money.
Okay.
I think, if I could interject, it's showing up on some of our reports, and I believe that our finance director indicated that she is going to be changing the name because escrow is not the right identifier for those. But they are, all funds are held on behalf of commissions.
Okay.
Did we take a vote on that one?
I think we did.
Okay.
Yes. No?
No.
We didn't?
We did not.
Oh, I gotta get this in sequence. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Now you're.
First reading of proposed ordinance 13-2021, an ordinance of the City of Allen Park Code of Ordinances, amending Chapter 2, Administration, Division 3, Beautification Commission, by the repeal of the existing ordinance and the readoption with additional provisions to update and clarify the purpose and duties of the Beautification Commission. Second reading of proposed ordinance 13-2021 by title only. An ordinance of the City of Allen Park Code of Ordinances, amending Chapter 2, Administration, Division 3, Beautification Commission, by the repeal of the existing ordinance and readoption with additional provisions to update and clarify the purpose and duties of the Beautification Commission. Just one comment on this. I think this was the last ordinance that Councilperson Pamela Syke worked on. And I don't know if we want the minutes to reflect that or, sometime, somehow give her recognition of that. Okay. All right.
I'll ask for a motion for the third reading and public hearing of proposed ordinance number 11-2021 regarding the Downtown Development Authority TIF plan.
Motion, Mayor.
Motion by Mr. Schleck,
Second.
second by Mr. Blevins. I will ask for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
The
Please do the third reading.
third reading by title only of proposed ordinance 11-2021, an ordinance of the City of Allen Park Code of Ordinances, amending Chapter 2, Administration, Division 7, Downtown Development Authority by the repeal and readoption of Section 2-44 to adopt and approve the First Amendment and restatement of the Allen Park Downtown Development Authority Tax Increment Financing and Development Plan. And now it's time for a public hearing.
Yes, we'll now hold a public hearing on this ordinance. If anyone wishes to speak on this, please come forward at this time.
Fred Frank, 35 years on Pleasant Avenue. I know that because my son turned 35 this month. I'm also here as the chairperson of the Allen Park Downtown Development Authority. Honored to have served as the chair for the last year and as a member for, I think, 5 years. Before this council is the ordinance that the city attorney mentioned to approve the amendment and restatement of the Downtown Development Authority Tax Increment Financing and Development Plan. I think as all of you know, this is the guideline for the DDA's projects and programs, and identifies the sources of funding for those projects and programs, all of which projects and programs are adopted yearly in our budget and come before this council for its approval in cooperation with the DDA. Here also from our DDA are Tracy Fressel, Kurt Mazig, our Executive Director Jennifer Kibbe, and our newly appointed member Frank Siskowski. I hope I got your name correct. And so I would ask that this council approve this ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
If there are no further individuals coming forward during the public hearing, we will close the public hearing. And we will ask for a motion to adopt ordinance number 11-2021. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Lally,
Second.
second by Mr. Lloyd. Take a roll call vote, please.
All right, Madam Mayor, I have a motion by Pro Tem Lally, supported by Councilman Lloyd, to adopt ordinance number 11-2021, an ordinance of the City of Allen Park Code of Ordinances, amending Chapter 2, Administration, Division 7, Downtown Development Authority, by the repeal and adoption of section, I believe it's supposed to be 2. Section 2-447 to adopt and approve the First Amendment and restatement of the Allen Park Downtown Development Authority Tax Increment Financing and Development Plan. Shall this ordinance pass? Councilman Blevins?
No.
Councilman Lally?
Yes.
Councilman Lloyd?
Yes.
Councilman Marcos?
No.
Mayor McLeod?
Yes.
Councilman Schlack?
Yes.
And Councilman Maleras?
Yes.
The yeses have it. This will be published in a manner prescribed by law.
Thank you. We're going to have to do a little delay of time. I understand that Commissioner Baydoun is on his way in another meeting. He was in attendance, and I texted him, and he said he was coming. So I think we will perhaps continue with council comments so that we don't have any dead space. This evening, Mr. Lloyd.
First thing that I would like to say is I serve on legal affairs with Mr. Schlack and our new appointed member, Mr. Valerius, but I served on it with Councilwoman Syke. And it's an incredibly interesting a committee to work on. It's one of the committees that I think meets the most regularly to discuss the business of the city, things that are important. And we end up having a lot of really interesting and in-depth conversations, because when you pass legislation, you're not doing it for right now. You're not doing it for one situation. You're not doing it to solve an immediate problem. You're doing it to set out a roadmap so that your community can continue to thrive and operate under those rules. And I have to say that over the last 2 years, it was truly an honor to be able to serve on that committee with Councilwoman Sykes. She was an incredibly deep thinker when it came to these issues. She thought about things from every possible angle. And we oftentimes disagreed. Our first conversation that we had, I can't tell you how long we had discussions on mulberry trees. Okay, you would not believe how big of a difficulty that was. But during that time, I grew to appreciate her as a civil servant, but most importantly as a friend. And I think that this ordinance that we passed today for the Beautification Commission, that ordinance benefited from her wisdom, her patience, her analytical mind, as much as the many pieces of legislation, the ordinances that have come down over the past 2 years. And as I know that Councilman Valerius will do an amazing job with us, I will greatly miss her insights and her intellect in that commission. Next, another sad point. Since we've last met, unfortunately, we've had the events of Oxford, and I know that I speak for Mr. Valerius when I say that as school teachers, that it has been an incredibly challenging time. It is our schools are places that we go and we send our children to learn and to better themselves, and it's something that deeply impacted us that work in those buildings, but also our students. And it's truly sad. Just saw the pictures of those 4 young individuals flash up on the screen, that their lives be cut short. So if I could just ask for a moment of silence and respect for the young people that lost their lives. Thank you.
And I'll interrupt the rotation, which I actually was looking at the wrong column, but take care of that next week. Mr. Commissioner Baydoun has arrived, and we will now go back to the agenda item where he will present a resolution for Councilwoman Pamela Syke. And for those who were not aware, Pam retired from Wayne County, where she worked as an engineer, and brought a lot of expertise to this council.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Honorable Council members. I'm sorry I'm late. We had a meeting with the governor in Dearborn, and I got here as quickly as I could. I am saddened by the passing of Councilwoman Pam Syke, and on behalf of the entire Wayne County Commission, we extend our sincere condolences to her colleagues, to the mayor, and to her family. And this is a resolution that we prepared in Wayne County in her honor.
And if you would like to present it to her family, if
Yes.
you'd like to come up, this is her daughter and husband.
I'm sorry for your loss. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner, very much appreciated. We'll get back to council comments, and Matthew.
I just wanted to take a moment and thank Mr. Baydoun for coming here and that resolution. It's still tough to talk about and tough to comprehend, the loss of Pam. But I thank you for recognizing and for family for being here. As my fellow councilman Dan mentioned, the tragedy in Oxford High School. As a teacher, I mean, it's difficult. We've been dealing with, you know, a global pandemic for the last almost 2 years now, and the effects that has on students, coupled with this tragedy and the effects that it has not only on students, but teachers, staff, families, parents, and everything is just, it's tough. It's definitely tough. I wish there was an easy solution. I wish there was things that can be done. All we could do as teachers is be there every day to support our kids, our students. You know, I made the statement in my classroom that, and I'll share it with you because I told my students that I have a wife and son at home, but when I'm in that classroom, they're all my kids. And that I would do anything in my power to keep them safe and protect them always. And I meant that, and I mean it today. As we won't meet again until after Christmas, right?
Oh, next week.
Oh, I'm sorry. My bad. Changes all my notes. So I got all that. So. Yeah. I will say, you know, with the approaching holidays, it's so important to reach out and do what we can for those less fortunate and also those that need the support in light of everything that's going on, you know, today with the pandemic and just everything in general. I had my classes today actually start making Christmas cards. I came up with the idea just on a whim. I was thinking about it. I talked to my dad yesterday. He's a resident at Maple Heights Retirement Apartment building there. And I know the suffering that they've gone through throughout this course of this pandemic with the closures of the dining room, being relegated to their apartments pretty much, having meals brought up to them, the segregation. It's all there to keep them safe, but it still has such an effect on them, you know. And these residents, you know, whether they have families or whether they don't, they need contact, they need that socialization, and they need to know that people care, that people really care about them, especially during this difficult time and with the holidays, approaching holidays. So I asked my kids, I actually called the director at Maple Heights. I found out that they have about 112 residents total. And I asked my kids, I said, well, my one class, I said, we could do some assignments and we could do some things this week. Or we could sit here and we can make Christmas cards for every resident at Maple Heights. And I told them, I said, well, there's about 13 of you, and I need 112 cards, and I need them by Friday. I said, so what do you think? And they were like, let's make cards. So we started making cards today. We're going to be making cards the rest of the week. I sat at my desk with colored paper and colored pencils and markers, and I made cards. And here, as I'm telling kids, make sure, you know, your high school kids, make sure you spell things correctly. So I'm telling them Mary is spelled M-E-R-R-Y. As I look at a kid doing a card and it says M-A-R-Y. And I said, well, that's okay. Just kind of flow with that in regards to the Mother Mary. So in light of all that, like I said, my hope and my prayers are that by Friday, I'm going to have a big box of cards. I talked to Lori Batt, the director at Maple Heights. I'm going to be dropping them off. And I told them 80 cards isn't enough. I said 90 cards isn't enough. I need about 112 or 120 cards, because my hope is that every resident gets their own card. And I told the kids, I said, remember when you were a kid growing up and a student in school and you brought those not so artistic cards home from your school, and what did your parents do with them? And, well, they put them up on the fridge. And I said, the hope is that if I was to walk through that 10-story building, and I was to go into those apartments, I'd go into 112 residences, and I'd see 112 cards with on a magnet on a fridge. And I'd see them smiling when they look at them. So with the holidays coming up, all I do is ask that you think about and do what you can to help, to reach out to those that need us to help and need us to reach out. And with that, I yield my time.
Thank you, Matthew. Gary?
Thank you, Mayor. I want to once again congratulate Officer David Belknap for joining our police department. And thank all the newly appointed and reappointed city commissioners. You are the backbone of the community. We can't do what we do in our city without the commissioners. I truly mean that. And I think everyone up here on this dais agrees. I want to invite each of you out for maybe one time, another for a cup of coffee, and let's continue having that discussion of what we can do to make our city great. Because I want to continue to make our city a better place to work, play, and live. It's nice to see Councilwoman Sykes' family, her daughter and husband. We talked a great deal about her at the last council meeting, but I just want to echo she was a great friend to me, and she was a great public servant. Her knowledge and experience were a great asset to this council and on legal affairs. And just as we were getting over that tragic blow, it doesn't stop as I look at my colleagues here on that service teachers. We were dealt with the shooting at Oxford. And that's why I wear this bright orange tie. I wore it in June in honor respective survivors and victims of gun violence. And here I wear it today. And it's not because I like the University of Syracuse necessarily. I have to honor any way I possibly can. So here I sit, opposed to wearing a bright Christmas tie, wearing a bright orange tie to symbolize the importance. You know, hopes and prayers weren't enough today. They weren't enough tomorrow. We need to do more. So, as a city councilman, I want to ask all gun owners to keep on being responsible and know those rights. It is not an obligation that you have to hold a firearm. It's a right to respect it and respect. I know what it can do. As a veteran, I served and protected our country, and I know what harm they can do in the wrong hands. And as a citizen of Michigan and of the United States of America, I ask our Michigan legislature to finally get behind something and pass meaningful legislation. The time is not tomorrow, the time is today. Enough children, enough people have suffered and died from senseless gun violence. It needs to end now. With that, Mayor, I yield my time.
Thank you. Charles?
Well, first off, I'm glad to see the students in government class here again, learning about government. Again, you never know, you might be up here one day on city council. Unfortunately, I won't be here next council meeting due to prior arrangements I had. But I just want to say to everyone, I hope everyone has a wonderful Christmas, Kwanzaa, and those who are celebrating birthdays in the future, I hope y'all have a happy birthday to y'all. I enjoy, what I always love about Island Park, and they keep stepping it up, is the decorations all around the houses in the city and stuff. The blow up snowmans, minions, and all that stuff. And it's just wonderful to see in the spirit and all that stuff. And especially, they always say to keep your lights on. Well, that's one good way to keep your lights on around your house. So just keep up the good work. With the DDA, I hope in the next 20 years and in the future we can keep on working together, and like we suggest with at our work session meeting, to have work session meetings together so we can keep track of what's going on and everything, and again, to work together as one team in one city, and keep supporting local businesses, in the city. Again, buying local, it's not just like CEO getting money, but it's helping a family getting their child a present for Christmas or for their birthdays and stuff like that. Helping local helps local families and stuff. So please keep supporting all the businesses and Allen Park strong, as we said. But I hope everyone has a healthy, wonderful new year. Healthy new year. Keep staying safe. And God bless and stay positive always. And I yield. Thank you.
Dennis?
I wanted to thank everybody in the department heads, council members, everybody in the administration for giving me a really good welcome under the circumstances that we've dealt with here. We've obviously all dealt with. I wanted to thank the two police commissioners, Commissioner Egan, Commissioner Can. I know you guys put in a lot of work, a lot of time, and keep these things running smooth. I did want to bring attention today also to the rescue guys. See how fast these guys, they don't ever get any attention. My neighbor 2 houses over, 97 years old, fell down in her garage today. And by the time I got to her driveway, they were there. That's how fast these guys were. It's incredible. I was trying to get 50 feet, and they beat me. So wanted to thank them. Great job. Wonderful. Appreciate it. Also wanted to thank everybody who comes to these meetings. Encourage the public to please come to these meetings. We can't see enough of you, truly. We want you to come. We want you to get involved. We want you people here. Hopefully after the holidays, we'll see things improve. I know it's kind of tough now. Everybody's going everywhere. But we'd like to see participation by the citizens. And again, Officer Belknap, welcome. We'll talk about fishing later. Okay. Thank you, yield.
Good evening. Thank you for all coming tonight. Really appreciate it. Just like Councilman Marcus says, would like to see more people at the council. It means a lot to us. We're doing something. I want to congratulate all the commissioners that got on board today. I want to congratulate the police officer that came on board. We need more good police officers who looks like him, and hope he does well. I also want to say a prayer for the family of the tragic tornado that hit the disaster at the Mayfield, Kentucky. There's a lot of people and no food, no clothes, no house. The American Legion and the cleaners are trying to plan a delivery of 1,000 pounds of food to that area. They are right now in a meeting trying to get something going for them. And that's, I think everybody in the community, all the fraternal organization around town should do something, even if it's 50 pounds or 100 pounds. Water, they need everything we could get. You know how the city is. Over there it looks like a disaster. I was in Vietnam, they look just like Vietnam when the bombs came in. And Frank could allege to that, you know. Anyway, I just want to thank everybody for coming tonight. And hopefully, I want to say something about the DDA. I have nothing against the DDA, by all means. They do a good job. But the discussion we had today, it was very good, very updated. That's nice. We should have more of those. And hopefully we do. All right? And I would thank Chief Egan and Chief Can for doing an excellent job in Allen Park. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much. Good night. I won't be here in the next meeting. I have prior commitment. But I want to wish everybody a safe, merry Christmas and a happy and prosperous New Year. More money next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Mike, do you want
I just want to say a quick word. Honestly, I think this is the youngest, this had the most, how do I say this? Middle-aged people I ever sworn in at one time. I don't know, and what's shocking is because I always felt like, yeah, I'm the youngest guy here. I'm not here. I think, Frank, we're the same age. There was a handful of you that, Mr. Courtwright, all went to Cabrini and Allen Park around me. But I have to tell you, this is the first time I ever sworn a person that I knew as a baby. John Luke, you probably don't even remember me. I haven't seen you in like 20 years. But when I saw your name, I'm like, I'm there. I'm swearing in a baby. It's just really good.
Is your dad a coach?
Yeah, he's there.
Brittany? Now I know. I remember you too. Okay.
But I just want to point out, it's good to see all these faces here, the commissioners, the board members, some of you, there are one or two that may be here longer than I've been around, so they are the unsung heroes, okay? And I'm not knocking anyone, but remember, you're there independently. You're appointed by the mayor, but you're still representing the citizens as you. Not influenced from a higher board, that's why you're picked. So I just don't think people think about how serious those decisions are made at your level. And again, I just want to recognize you and thank all of you. Thanks for all coming out. God bless you and good night.
Thank you, Mike. I'm going to be brief. We've got a lot of topics that we're covered on. Many of them are somber. Some are going to take us a while to get over with. I have expressed my sentiments on Councilwoman Syke. I have communicated that to her family. I think of her often and will continue to do so. Very pleased that she was recognized by Wayne County. I know that we are all sick and tired of having repeat performances of school shootings. I guess the best that we can do is to continue to communicate with those who represent us, with an understanding that we may request that something be done without taking away anyone's rights, simply using a little common sense and requiring that we do background checks, take a little better care, pay attention to what's going on. There are some good things, though, that sometimes come out of these, as Tony mentioned, people pulling together to help the individuals who have been impacted by the recent tornadoes. Oftentimes, out of tragedy, some good does result. I'm going to miss the two council members who will not be here next week, but when you have back-to-back, sometimes those things happen. So I will wish Charles a happy birthday early. Hope he enjoys that. For all of you, thank you for being here. And again, to those who have agreed to volunteer for boards and commissions, you are very much appreciated. And I don't think I could say it any better than Mike did. You are key to keeping the city moving and afloat. So with that, I will ask, yes, you forgot something.
I'd be remiss if I don't mention the Wayne County Commissioner for coming here and giving a nice presentation to Pam, a well-deserved one. And I just want to tell you another thing. You guys in Wayne County, and I've seen those bridges that you did in Allen Park and the bridge that you did over there on Moran Street. A little slow, but very good. You did a good job. On that, I'm sorry, Mayor.
And this is an individual who knows what he's talking about when he's talking about bridges. So with that, I will take a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Blevins, second by Mr. Schlack. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned at 7:17.